Hello once again. This is the Barefoot Defender, Stephen Williford, and I'm here with Christie Hutcherson. And I'm going to warn you guys today. This might be a really tough one for you to listen to. And some of the things you're going to learn with Christie today, you can't unlearn. And so if you listen to this one, you're going to find out some facts that maybe you don't want to know. Maybe you want to live in a world where everything's hunky-dory and you believe that the world's perfect and peaches and cream. But once you listen to Christie, you will find out that it is not. And you'll learn things and you'll see things that will change your world and your perspective. Hi, Christie.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. And I wanted to, first off, what's the foundation that you work for?
I founded Women Fighting for America.
Women Fighting for America, and that's interesting. Guys can't fight for America?
Well, they can, but I was called out on Good Friday last year for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And
Amen.
He said, Christie, I called you in 1993 and you denied me. And I called you again in 2012. You denied me a second time. Will you deny me a third? And with that, I threw my hands up in the air and I said, I surrender, Father. Whatever you want me to do, send me. And I stepped away from my business and everything. And I've been on the road, literally on the road since August of last year. And traveling this great nation, been to 30 states. And exposing the corruption and the Marxist socialist agenda and the disease that's taken over our nation.
And to talk a little bit about the disease, we're down here on the border at McAllen now, and she's part of our series that we're doing on the border and learning ourselves what's going on down here, and she's helped educate me, and today she's speaking to help educate you. So your main focus is child sex trafficking?
Well, it didn't start out to be that way, to be honest with you. I got a call from a friend of mine, Caroline Wetherington, who does Defend the Nation. And she said, Christie, this was back in February, I have some individuals in Yuma, Arizona, and they're afraid to leave their home. The cartel are wreaking havoc. There's an influx of illegals coming over the border. People are scared. There's rapes and all these things going on in Yuma. And I thought about it and I prayed about it, and God said, Christie, if you're going to go down there, I want you to do this right. So back in February, I took a small security team and one camera guy, and we started in Tijuana, Mexico. And it was supposed to be a week trip, and that week trip has turned into over almost 3 months total, doing work here at the border from California to Texas. We don't do photo ops. I refuse to do that. This isn't about me, look at me, I'm here at the border with the border wall and let me shine a small light on this. This is really about what this administration and the policies behind this administration are trying to do to undermine the sovereignty of our nation, and that's also to destabilize it. And during that journey, we have found how the children and the women are being exploited, raped, and sold into human slavery and the sex trade.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the organizations that are helping with that?
Yeah, what's really disheartening is along this journey, and we followed it all the way inland, all the way up to as far as Michigan, and there's very specific Christian charities that I'm going to expose who they are here today. Catholic Charities, Bethany Christian Services, and Methodist Charities are the three biggest culprits. There's others that we can name, but I'm going to concentrate on these three right now because they have won very big government contracts. And but government contracts, that's taxpayer-funded dollars. And they even have individuals who work within these organizations who are part of the human trafficking smuggling ring. And you can very well tell them because they have very specific tattoos on their body, very specific symbols on their body that work for these different charities. And they're helping to facilitate and funnel these UACs. UACs are unaccompanied children. And they help funnel them through the system. They are put into communities, in your community, by the way. For an example, Alma, Michigan is one of those communities. Typically, you'll find them within 20 to 30 minutes of casinos, because casinos are very well known to help facilitate trafficking of children. So those organizations, I'm going to tell you, please don't give to those organizations. And I'm not saying Catholics are bad and the Christians are bad. They're not. But you've got very bad players who are all about the money, and that's what it's become, and then it becomes corrupt.
So a lot of my viewers are going to say, what kind of proof do you have?
We've got lots of proof. When you start digging in and you peel back the layers and you start following the money and you uncover organization after organization, and then the other organizations that they fund underneath Catholic Charities, you start seeing a pattern. You actually can get this information. Your viewers can actually get this information. We will post it on our website. We're still investigating a larger picture, but all you have to do is get on the internet, Google, go get the tax records. That's where you start tax records always. For an example, Bethany Christian Services in 2019, they haven't released their 20 tax records as of yet, but 45 million of your taxpayer dollars towards illegal children, housing children, exploiting the children alone.
Wow. So that's your tax money,
Yep.
people. And these are sexually exploited children. We saw them coming across the border last night, and the children looked like they had been drugged. They were absolutely unresponsive to any kind of stimulus. Speaking to them, reach down, grab their hand, and shake them, and they were totally unresponsive.
Pretty lifeless.
And then when their mothers would pick them up, we just think that their mother
Yeah, they assume.
would pick them up and carry them up to the Border Patrol. It's like a rag doll. They were just limp, the heads back and the arms laid back, just like a rag doll, just carrying a limp baby up to the Border Patrol. And so, I had no words for what was going on. And I can't, especially if you're a Christian charity, and this is actually happening, I believe truly that there's a special place in hell just for you.
Well, there's good and evil in this world, and unfortunately, right now we see a lot of evil. Let me explain how this works. The drug cartel, from California all the way to Texas, all the 2,000 miles of border, the cartels own them. And actually we have cartel wars. That's why you're starting to see this uptick in shootings. You'll hear them. They're gang on gang, cartel on cartel, because they're jockeying for position. The Zetas, the Zenecolas, all of these different cartels, they're jockeying because it's big business. And nobody crosses the border without paying the cartel. And it could be whether it's in financial gain, it could be in the sex trade, it could be in the drug trade, or if they get a job over here, they have to send money to the drug cartel until it's paid off. And that's why you see those wristbands. You see a lot of the wristbands cut off and laying all over the ground.
I saw the wristbands.
The wristbands are safe passage. That's their payment. And if you don't pay the drug cartel, and we have photographs on our website, and I'd be more than happy to give that to you.
Give the website out, please.
Yeah, it's wffa.win or wffa.win. And on our Facebook page, you'll see a lot of these videos. They will kill you. We have a picture, unfortunately. We were on the Rio Grande back in March, and we were dealing with and communicating actually and having a conversation with the Zeta cartel on the river. And that was chilling enough to have an actual conversation. They flagged us down and wanted to communicate with us. Well, just before that, there was a dead body where they had just gutted the man on the Mexican side, right at the banks. Well, he had tried to cross the river without paying. That's the price you pay is your life if you don't pay the cartel. The children that you see, these unaccompanied children, they're either kidnapped from their moms and dads in their countries, or they are bought.
Are you hearing that, guys?
They're kidnapped, or they're bought. Their parents sell them to the cartel. That's how these younger children are coming up through the border. Every single child is worth, in their lifetime up to the age of 30, $20 million per child to the cartel. This is very, very big business. This is very serious business, and they do not want us to stop this business.
Well, I talk about and have talked about in the past what A.J. Louderback said. Sheriff Louderback said that the cartels have a $500 billion budget. And that's not only drugs, but that's trafficking children.
Yes.
And slave labor. And of course, the people that are coming across are running drugs for them. And, if they get caught, the drug cartels really don't care because they're just they're just mules carrying the drugs for them.
Yeah.
So
Well, the other thing that's really disheartening is what you don't hear on the news. I'm really good friends, and how I get a lot of my intel. We have ICE agents, I have DHS agents, I have Border Patrol, who are the good guys. There are some out there guys. They send us intel from within the camps. They send us intel from the border when we're not there. We also have others who are on the other side in Mexico who send us information up, and when we're not able to do it ourselves. And we're not even talking about the rape trees that we have in Arizona and in Mexico and in Texas, but we have photographs literally where we've hiked up to what we call the Mexican highway, and there's staging areas, and you can tell a staging area, especially where the rape trees are and the children are, they're gang raped. We have, I'll give you the photograph so your listeners and your viewers can see this. They strap them around the tree and they tie them down by their wrists on this really rough terrain, and they brutally gang rape them. And if they fight back, we've seen where we've had skulls where they've been bashed in with stones on the side of their head and killed and left to die. The other thing is that you're not seeing on the news is literally we've found dead babies floating in the Rio Grande with their heads cut off. We've had children, 2-year-olds, where they've gutted them, taken out their guts, and they stuff their drugs, their fentanyl in them, sew them back up, and then they carry them over the border like they're a sleeping child. This is what's going on right now across our borders.
And night before last, we went out to the ranch,
Yeah.
and we saw where there were children's clothes spread out on the ranch, right there at a pavilion that was for the hunters, by the hunters' cabins. There was children's clothes and panties and backpacks and things that were there, and you talked to us about that and said that's where they rape them and that's where they dehumanize them, and they take away everything that they thought was theirs, and they didn't own very much anyway, but all the way to their clothes and everything, and then they dress them in new clothes and then traffic them forward.
One of the rewarding things in this darkness that I can tell you our team does, because we've done so much work and we've gotten so much intel, we've rode along, from the credibility standpoint, Sheriff Mark Lamb, Sheriff Daniels, Chris Riggs, Mayor Chris Riggs, the Sabre teams, we've been privileged to ride around with these guys in the really hard areas. We've hiked in, we've been with the militia groups who are doing it right. And don't use that word militia as a bad thing. These guys are military guys who love our country, and they're in the areas where we call no man's land. This is where the bad players are coming over the border. And we've camped out there. We've seen this firsthand. And 2 weeks ago, with one of the groups that we work with, we can't get into how we do it because the intel saves lives.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to show you the photographs. If I had my phone on me, I'd show your listeners right now. We rescued 7 children literally out of the hands of the cartel in Arizona. And I will tell you just a little preview of how we kind of do it, not the backstory of how we do it. But what these individuals understand is power and force. So we met them and said, we've got individuals surrounded. We got the intel. We know where your stash houses are. We know where you're holding your car fentanyl and your drugs that you're getting ready to transport. And we know that the tickets, because they call the children tickets. So when we're hearing chatter from their chatter and then we hear ticket, that's a red flag that they're getting ready to move children for human trafficking. So we know where they are. We scoped them out. And we told the drug cartel, you've got 48 hours to bring the children and release them right here into our hands, or we're going to burn all your drugs down. That's how we're able to sometimes rescue children and get them out. And there's nothing like holding a little 12-year-old girl who clearly was abused and scared to death, blank stare in her eyes, no life. And after you hold her and you talk nice to her and lovingly and give her some crackers and coloring books and let her know, the release that she gives is incredible, to say I'm someplace safe. So the border crisis isn't just about our national security. It's about saving countless women and children from being exploited. We have to shut the borders down because we're giving it a avenue to empower, embolden, and enrich the drug cartel. That's what this administration is doing. They're complicit
and
with
I would
it.
say, and I think we talked about this a little, as the answer to it is they have to have the tools to make their own country
Yes.
into what it can be,
Yes.
and not controlled by just a few elites and stuff.
Yeah.
That it makes it where they can prosper in their own country.
That's exactly right. What we talked about the other day was Women Fighting for America has really thought about this. If the Christian charities like Bethany Christian Services, Catholic Charities, all of these different organizations and churches even, if we can partner with the countries in Central and South America, which they're welcoming for us to do so, we can set up facilities within these countries. Think about the millions of dollars we're spending right now on the border, between the everything, right? It's millions
Massive.
and millions of dollars. Think about if we could help set up and facilitate.
Put a B instead of an L.
Yeah, it's in the billions. 60 million a week just to house the UACs. That was about a month ago, and that's probably uptick because of the influx. But if we set up facilities within these countries and we give them the tools that they need, educate them, give them a trade, and help teach them to be better citizens in their country, to improve their country, then that's ultimately making their country stronger and better. Then they don't need to come over here. You know, that's all they want, is they want a better life within their country, but they feel like there's no other hope. So if we come there and bring it to them, we're bringing the hope to them. That's what needs to happen. America, unfortunately, can no longer sustain this influx. We have over 5 million that we know of. That's working with the sheriffs, by the way. Those are accurate numbers because these guys live on the border. They have the numbers, they have the getaways, they have the statistics. We have over 5 million people so far who have infiltrated our nation right now. It's unsustainable. We cannot do it.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it, Steve.
you for speaking with us and joining us, or for letting us, I guess, join you down here on the border, because we're in your territory now. I would like to encourage more people to come down here and see what's on the border. I spoke to a Border Patrol agent last night, and she was a high-ranking one apparently. And she said, no, y'all have the right to be down here. Even we were told when we went down to a certain area, we didn't have the right to be there. And,
we do.
And we do, and you do.
That's right.
As civilians, you have that right. And you have the right to tell them, no, I do have the right to be here. And it was confirmed later by the Border Patrol agent, and I had a real nice conversation with her. Yeah. And so we have good men and women down here that are fighting, but they're not at this point even trying to stop what's happening.
No.
They can't stop the influx, and it's this administration that is allowing it. And the Supreme Court has said that they're supposed to stay in Mexico. And yet they're not. They're ignoring that by the Supreme Court, and
they're breaking laws.
They're breaking laws.
We have federal agencies right now breaking our laws.
And this could go on forever.
Yeah.
If
I could leave them with two things really quick. If you're interested in coming down to the border to see firsthand what's really happening, we're going to do what's called Border War Tours. We're going to put the website up. It's borderwartours.com, where you can email us. And we would love to have you come down here, because there's something powerful about us showing up and stopping this in its tracks. So reach out to us, and we'll bring you down here, and we'll educate you on what's really happening down here.
And this may not be my last tour of the border, too. Again, like I say when I started this, is you can't unsee what you've seen. And it's a call to action when you see it. You can't ignore it anymore. And I would encourage my listeners, my viewers, to go out and get educated. Now you've taken that first step. If you made it past my intro and you've watched this, now it's time for you to come see yourself and find out what's going on here at the border. And we're about out of time. Again, thank you for watching the BareFoot Defender.